We are about to spoil the 2011 series, The Cape. If you haven't seen the show, or you plan on watching it, then click away now. Or if you've already seen it, or you just don't care, then please stick around.
All right, time to watch The Cape. You know, I remember the show being really fucking good the first time I saw it, so I'm sure it holds up fine.
You're not just a clown. You're the entire circus. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cinema Roulette. Boy, oh boy, we thought this would be easy. We thought this would be, short little 10-episode series, nothing too big to worry about. We'll just get through it. It'll be average, I'm sure. Little did we know.
Little did we find. Yeah, this might just be like a pre-Daredevil type thing. Yeah, it'll be a fine 2011 superhero show. It's 10 episodes. How bad can that be?
Oh, wow. Just... And you can probably tell by our tones of voices that we didn't particularly care for it. It had some good moments, but...
Two good episodes.
Two good episodes.
That's about it.
Yeah, so today... If you couldn't tell by the freaking spoiler warning, we're reviewing the 2011 TV series, The Cape.
First off, we went quiet. Second, you're just... fade in to find, like, you tried saying it, but you got disappointed with yourself.
Turns out I played myself.
It was just The Cave.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Oh God, this show.
So, The Cape.
This is a show from 2011 that originally aired on NBC. And
where did it air?
NBC, National Broadcasting
NBC.
Company.
Okay.
You were saying? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I just said NBC. Okay.
Yeah. I thought you were about to say something, so I went quiet.
Editing's fun.
This is going to be a bitch.
Hey, you don't know that yet. We still have to do the summary. But The Cape was a show we both watched when it first aired and remembered enjoying. The other thing I remembered from it is a line from Community where two characters are arguing that it will either last only one season or 6 seasons and a movie. Since this is only one episode, we said the complete series, you can guess which was correct.
Because it was airing at the time, yeah, so they made a joke about it.
Yeah. If you want, I'm not sure if you can find the clip on YouTube, but I would be happy if you played the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Show's gonna last 3 weeks! 6 seasons and a movie!
I'll see if I can find it as well.
From Community?
Yeah, from Community.
You have the DVDs, don't you?
I do, but I don't know how to use Handbrake.
Okay.
I'm bad. I mean, no, I would never use Handbrake. I am a good legal boy. We actually did legal. We do legally own this show.
Yes, we do.
Case
We bought it on
that's
DVD.
the joke.
Yep.
We bought it on DVD because it's like $6 to $9.
And there was never a Blu-ray release. Yeah, it's literally, if you go on Amazon right now, you can buy it new for $8 or some shit like that.
I don't think Blu-ray would help this.
Yeah, oh, good Lord, it wouldn't, especially some of the lovely effects work.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. I think...
we remembered liking this show. No.
Yeah, because it's been 10 years now since it aired, 2011 to 2021. And yeah, it turns out it has not aged well at all. Like, at the time, it may have been fun and stupid, but yeah, man. So I say we just get into the synopsis, then we can talk about it afterwards, because we have quite a bit to say on this.
Oh my God. Actually, a synopsis isn't hard after episode 1.
Oh, Jesus Christ, episode 1.
Yeah, okay. I'm debating if I add commentary or not to episode 1.
I say we just get it over with now.
Okay.
Let's get the synopsis.
Here we are in Palm City, the Cape. Here we are in Palm City. Palm City is New York, Chicago, Florida. And, you know, it's just the normal city. We got cops. We have a cop named Vincent. And there's a serial killer going around named Chess because he has chess pieces for eyes.
And he likes to play chess. That's his whole motif. Like he's playing chess with the city. And yeah.
Oh, yeah, he leaves pieces on people,
Yep.
which they forget about that in later episodes, but whatever. And the chief of police is killed by Chess with a reverse bomb. Like it sucks in on the car instead of and then explodes out. It's weird.
Yeah, they said it was a new type of bomb or something.
A new corporation is taking over the city named ARC. They basically become the police, the judges, and everything. Vince joins ARC because one of his cop buddies is like, you should join them. You'll get a good amount of money. And then Vince finds where Chess is taking in all the bombs and stuff and transporting them in toys. He gets captured by Chess, is framed to be Chess, and people think he dies after the police chase him down. Vince is kidnapped, well, not kidnapped, but saved by a circus of thieves. And instead of killing him, he's like, I have a key card that can get you into every bank, basically, if you don't kill me. Because they think he's Chess, too. And one of the people in the circus is Keith David. Which is just cool.
He's one of the best parts about this show.
He is the best part of the show, let's not lie.
Yeah.
Keith David actually trains Vince to use this I say mystical, it's apparently not magic, but it's magic, cape, that it's made of like spider silk. So he basically imagine Captain America's shield, except it's a cape.
Basically.
That's basically what it is. He's trained to do that. He goes out. It turns out the head of ARC is Chess. So Vince wants to prove that that guy was Chess, prove his innocence, and then go back to his family who thinks he's dead because he had a wife and kid.
Yeah, I think he's dead. Actually, they think he's dead, and he was set up to think that people think he was Chess.
Yes. And he goes to take out one of ARC's shipments, and there's a guy named Scales who's played by Big Chris from fucking Lock, Stock.
Hell yeah.
He's probably the second or third best part of the show. Okay, Keith David's character's name is Max.
There you go.
The Cape tries to kill Scales. It doesn't go well. He almost dies, is saved by someone named Orwell. Or is that the second time he's almost killed? Hold on.
He's almost killed a lot in the series.
He is. 7 out of the 10 episodes, he gets his ass kicked.
So funny.
The Cape is almost killed by Scales, saved by Orwell. Then Scales Chess tracks back to the circus, kidnaps Keith David. The Cape goes and saves him. Keith David almost dies, but doesn't. And now he has a sidekick of Orwell, who's basically take all of Watch Dogs, but make it one person.
Yep.
Because she wants to surprise the person named Orwell, who everyone assumes is a man, is a woman. Because this twist hasn't been done to death yet.
There's a couple of really outdated cliches where they play with sexism. But
anyway.
We'll get to that. Yeah, you're right. Orwell is basically a one-man dead sec. So.
Yeah, dead sec. That's what I was thinking of.
Yep. But
Orwell is now the oracle of the Cape. The Cape is going to kind of use the circus to help him take out ARC. Oh, also his cop buddy betrayed him and sold him out to ARC when he found the bombs earlier.
Yep.
This is important later. And now, you may be assuming, for those who didn't watch the show and just listen to this episode, I went through like 3 episodes there, right? No, that's the first fucking episode.
Yep.
We'll get back to that.
Like I said, we have a lot to say on the show, so we'll just, as of right now, we'll just cover the plot. So.
Then the show kind of turns into a villain of the week thing. The Cape is poisoned by some guy, but he, gets saved. not hard.
Mhm.
Max offers him a super easy out, like 2 train tickets to run off with his families, but he's like, I don't want to look over my back the entire time. So he's gonna take down Ark.
Yep.
We find out there's this group of assassins with tarot cards. This is brought up one other time in episode 6 and then dropped completely.
Mm-hmm.
There is some Russian criminal who also used to use the cape, and he wanted the cape back, but basically is told no, and then he leaves. Orwell is still doing Orwell things. The head of Ark, who is also Chess, is named Fleming. Fleming is looking for his daughter, and Orwell doesn't like to talk about her dad. If you can't see where this twist is going, you're an idiot.
Yeah, it's so obvious. Like, spoiler alert, she's his daughter. Wow, never saw that one coming.
The cape tries to get Scales to go after Chess, but this doesn't work. Episode 5 is a thing that happens.
We'll get to that.
We will get to that.
Yes.
Also, it's implied that there might be okay. For the cape's training, he was taught all the arts of the circus, so he knows a bunch of illusions and hypnotism. The hypnotism doesn't come up till later.
Yeah.
But it is also implied that there is some type of mysticalness going on with the cape, because it's been passed down generation to generation of thieves and other people.
Uh-huh.
And Max implies that fate led the cape to Vincent.
Something like that. There's a lot of talk of fatalism.
Ark goes more after the cape with 2 assassins named Goggles and Hicks. We get a good 2-parter with someone called the Lich, who basically wants to be Scarecrow.
Yeah, he's basically a Scarecrow. It's pretty cool.
But honestly, solid 2-part. This one has nothing to do with the main plot, though.
Yeah, it's like setting up that Orwell might have had her mind fucked with, but that's about it. Like, it's very much its own separate story, and it's by far the best part of the series because it's legitimately good and enjoyable. And we'll get to why after the synopsis.
We'll get to why later. Also, Vincent's wife Vincent revealed himself as, just showed that he was the cape to his son and uses that as kind of information.
Yeah, but
just to make sure his son isn't going fucking crazy and depressed.
Yeah, because he appears as the cape to his family, but obviously he can't show them his actual identity.
I forgot to mention, the cape in this universe is already a comic book character, so already having a cape, he decided to dress up like the hero.
Yes.
So gang wars have started breaking out in Palm City, or New York, Miami. Vincent's wife is become a public attorney, and after an embarrassing defeat, that happens in episode 9. Episode 10 is when that happens. Okay, so there is a gang war going on. In order to get a hold on everything, Chess contacts Scales and is like, hey, can you stop doing shit in the city? You go on the outskirts, and basically we will fund you to be the godfather of all the gangs, so that way there's less crime in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And they hire an assassin called the Razor. We don't really learn anything about him other than he knows explosives.
Still find it funny that when he was in the taxi cab, he was like, okay, where you want to go, Mr. Razor?
Yeah, it's so good. Scales hires Razor. Vincent and the circus of thieves kidnap Razor, replace it with Vincent, so that way he can get his eye in on Scales' operation and stop stuff as things are planned literally within the hour.
Mm-hmm.
They get footage of Scales making payments to, or gang payments from Ark, so that way when Vince posts that on Orwell's website, everyone sees like, oh, Ark is corrupt. Okay. Vince's friend that betrayed him is named Martin. Martin became chief of police. And for some reason, Ark, instead of blaming whoever the chief of that sector of town was, decides to blame the head chief of police as a frame job. And it's like, if you don't go to jail, I will kill your family. Vincent's wife decides to help him because she realizes if if she can prove Ark is evil, that can also possibly prove Vincent's innocence, even though she thinks Vincent is dead. Orwell is also being kind of mindfucky. We also learned back in two-part that her dad is Chess. Big surprise.
Wow.
Chess is also a split personality now, even though it was clearly the same person before. Whatever, we can rewrite this show all we want.
Continuity schmontinuity.
Continuity's hard. Martin is almost assassinated so that way he doesn't snitch. The Cape saves him, but only for so long because they're about to get out of the city, so that way they can have a trial outside the city so Art can't fuck over with screw with the judges or whatever. But instead of letting the Cape take the bullet, who is I'd like to remind you is wearing a bulletproof vest and also his cape is bulletproof.
Yeah. Martin
dies, his family escapes. How does this wrap up again? Ark is like, we got rid of the bad cop, he's dead. So it sets up for season 2 that the Cape and Keith David share a drink of snake wine, and then we kind of end the season on that.
Yeah,
I forgot what happened with Orwell.
She kind of goes bonkers, and that's never resolved.
Oh yeah, she's kind of gone crazy, but we're
because like she was in that big
that.
giant white room with the black spot in the middle that looked like it caved into a floor, and she was laying on the bed, and she's just gone. Like she's very distant from the Cape, but she's still helping them, and we have no idea what's going on. We have no idea what's up with the giant white room. It's just fucking.
She kind of went crazy after the two-parter.
Yeah. So.
Also, she wants to marry the Cape, but the Cape, has a wife. So
yeah.
Whatever.
Wow. So where do we even fucking begin with this show? Jesus Christ.
Should we go back to the beginning?
Let's go back to the beginning. Since the series starts there, let's go back to the beginning. The pilot episode. So this episode is the pacing in this is so beyond bonkers. It's just weird. It just confused us and just threw us off guard with how much it jumps ahead in time. It's an entire season's worth of stuff packed into basically one episode.
It felt like a recap episode for a season that never happened.
Yeah, Daredevil season 1, he actually doesn't have the Daredevil suit until basically the last episode, and they kind of
spoilers for Daredevil.
Oh. Well, he wears the suit at some point. We know this, so I mean, I don't think that's a major spoiler.
Major spoiler.
Oh god, but yeah, episode towards the end of the season they imply, oh, he's gonna make his suit, but that would be like if you took the entirety of season 1 of Daredevil and just cut out any fluff and just packed it in the one episode. It's basically what you got with the Cape season 1. It's so off-putting.
You got the Sparks Note version, the bombing of the police chief. That's 3 minutes into the first episode.
Yeah. There's barely any times. It moves at such a fast pace, yet it feels like there's no pacing there. It's so weird, and it's jarring to watch. Justin, when we were done with the episode, he had to make sure, he was like, we didn't hit a recap for the season or something. It's no, that was just how the pilot was edited. I've never seen an episode of a TV show that has such a lack of pacing as that. It feels like scenes were just thrown together, and then that's it. We just dropped him in without any rhyme or reason, and that's that. It was so weird, and it really didn't... as the first episode of the season, it's supposed to grab you and everything, it did not set a good start for us. It left a bad taste in our mouth, kind of, for the rest of the season.
Yeah, if a pilot is supposed to suck you in, this punched you in the face and told you to fucking leave.
Yeah, it's just... It was just so off-putting that we knew once we got finished with the pilot episode, we're like, oh no. Oh, this is not good.
Oh, we fucked up.
we fucked up. And thank God the pacing of the rest of the episodes is at least good to serviceable. It's never as jarring as that first episode again, thank God.
Most of the episodes do feel like an hour long.
Yeah. Sorry.
An hour isn't long, but still, when you feel every minute, it becomes a pain.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I can't words apparently. So
this is what the Cape does to you.
It's giant PSA. It's just the Cape will make you not words.
The cape will make you not words.
1 in 4 people suffer from watching the Cape.
Oh, also random thing to add on the DVD for the episode selection. 1, the music completely cuts out, and 2, it looks like an FMV video game background.
It's pretty badly designed. It's pretty dated because like the music starts playing. The theme music plays in the first menu, but they didn't loop it, so it just stops after it finishes playing, and there's just silence.
I mean, you should probably make your choice before the minute-long song is done, but still.
And then you go to the episode selection, and it's just weird. Like, we swear that, like, episode, like, the numbers or something were written in Comic Sans. It just looks strange.
That's not the show's fault. It's weird.
It's just a funny little detail. But yeah, that pilot just did not, that did not bode well for us. And here's the thing about the show, is I was actually enjoying it because of how bad it was for the first 4 episodes or so, because the biggest problem we found with the show after the pilot is that it was tonally deaf. Like, it clearly wanted to go more jokey and over the top, but the problem is Batman had just happened at this time, so most of the characters play it completely straight.
And not to complete negative effect, though Vincent's wife actually does a stellar performance. It's just, it does not work in this show.
There are some, a lot of the actors in it are really giving it their all. Like, everybody at the circus is doing a great job. They're having a lot of fun with the role.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, yeah, Keith David obviously is always amazing. Like, I told Justin at one point during, like, the show, I was like, man, that was a great speech he just gave. Wish it was in a better show. And you were like, yeah, Keith David could probably make a Tommy Wiseau script sound dignified.
It's true.
Like, he's just awesome in basically everything he is. And his wife's giving it his all. And just, again, the problem...
Even his kid is actually a pretty solid actor.
Yeah, the kid who plays Trip does really well, honestly. So, especially compared to some of the other kid actors we find out in the show. Because he makes a friend in one, and whoo boy. I didn't blame the kid for that. It was partially him, but it was mostly the script. My God, so bad. But it's just this show can't decide on a tone, and it just comes across as confused. And when it gets really stupid, that's when I kind of enjoy it because of just how funny and dumb it is at times.
Yeah, there is some, like, episode 2 and 3 have a lot of so bad it's funny moments.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's good, but
no, but it's at least to a point sometimes that it's enjoyably bad. And
like
yeah,
like in episode 2, the baddie of that month of the episode, Kane, he throws knives covered in poison.
Yeah.
So Vincent trains himself to dodge knives by shoving them in a baseball pitching thing, and immediately realizes this was a terrible idea.
Yeah. It's like he's like, oh god, just eventually just gets down, and Keith David's like, told you so. Because Keith David's kind of the mentor figure who teaches him how to use the cape and stuff. So
yeah.
And it's just it's so bad it's good at times. And I was really enjoying how bad it was up until episode 5.
Are we just jumping right to episode 5?
Jump to that, because I don't think I have much to say about the opening other episodes. Do you?
Hold on, let me quickly check notes here. No, just the knife dodging scene I thought was funny.
Yeah. And it's not how.
Oh wait, we're not going to talk about the train.
Oh, I was going to actually lump that under effects in general. Actually.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know how long we were going to wait on effects, we'll wait till after episode 5.
Yeah, we'll do that after we talk about like the weaker parts of the show and stuff. But yeah, episode 5 is pain. It's just plain and simple. Episode 5 is pain. It's painful to watch, and you realize that the plot has more holes than fucking Swiss cheese. It's embarrassing.
Okay,
the setup of this episode.
Oh! Let's talk about American TV for a moment, in general. And America TV's connection to autism.
Yeah.
Because I know sorry about all the creakiness of my chair. I know people with autism. Both my brothers have autism.
Yeah.
I have friends who are autistic, and TV assumes there are only two type of people on the autistic spectrum.
Yeah.
There's either basically Rain Man, or there is super genius.
Yeah. Super genius who's very antisocial.
Was it savant syndrome? That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of.
Savant syndrome, yeah. But it's like a super genius who's antisocial, though. Like, he can't talk to people, but he's a genius with computers or something.
Which savant syndrome does exist.
Yes.
However, the Cape decides that the villain of the week is a girl. I forget her name. Was it Lucy? Dice. Dice is her name. Dice is able to do quantum mechanics in her brain, which means she can see the future.
Oh, God, that's the setup. That they actually tried to say that was the setup. She can see into the future because she can do quantum mechanics in her head. And whenever she does it, like, it's like a literal computer screen where, like, all these math equations just pop up and it goes, and she has these dice that she was rolling, and she could see every single time what they were going to land on, like, based off their trajectory or some shit, so she could see the future.
She could judge by just holding the dice that she could throw them. And you may be like, okay, that enough sense. You can do the math in your head of probability. No, she is able, as a little girl, to look at Fleming and her father, who was the main scientist researching her, and go, you're the man who's going to kill my dad.
Yeah.
She's able to see that far into the future.
She could see like 9 years into the future or something. She knew that Fleming was going to murder his dad just by looking at him. Yet she couldn't somehow figure out that the Cape was going to interfere with plans after he announced to her he was going to interfere with her plans. Nope. Didn't see that one coming.
That is the dumbest fucking moment. Yes, the Cape surprises her and she's like, oh, you were in my blind spot. And now knowing this, and he announces to her later too, while trying to get her to help, because having a person who could see into the future would be really helpful with taking down someone.
Yeah.
She doesn't predict that he will try to stop her, even though he says to her face, I will stop you.
Nope, didn't see that one coming.
Also, the dumbest fucking line is, she's like, I'm happy you stopped me. It reminds me I'm not God.
Oh, don't worry. That's really fucking stupid. But there are still really there are more stupid moments from the show. Like that stupid thing with the chandelier.
Oh, yes. Okay. Now, maybe you're able to suspend disbelief enough. She is able to read a person's face and realize that Fleming was going to kill her dad. Fine. But this quantum mechanics allows her to predict the layout of a restaurant that she has never been to.
Yep.
Put a coin on the ground, let it roll, and it goes full on Final Destination, leading to a man bending over to pick up the coin in the far back room, knocking over a mop to turn on a sink that he doesn't stop for some reason, it overflowing, there being holes in the floor, go down into the basement to hit the breaker, which sparks to cut the line to a chandelier above Fleming and almost drop on his head.
She was able to predict this based just by looking at the chandelier.
And also able to roll the coin through, you see it like go out of the restaurant room, down a hall, into the kitchen, or into the janitor closet where the guy is, after she forced him to knock over glasses. I forget how she did that.
But yeah, she was able to roll the coin at the exact perfect speed of that. Like, okay, you could, even if you could read quantum mechanics, that would require a stupid amount of physical strength. Like, and she just kind of casually rolls it. It's fine.
You know what would be a faster way to do that? Be able to see into the future where Fleming's going to be and then shoot him?
Yeah. If she can predict that he was going to kill his father, then why not do that?
Did you ever think about a gun?
Yeah. And that's another really fucking stupid thing, because Peter Fleming aka Chess, is the biggest problem in the series. And if he doesn't take care of him, he's going to be constantly looking over his shoulder, running on the run with his family, blah, blah. She wants to kill Chess. Why not let her kill Chess? Then your problems are over.
But then you won't be able to prove that he was Chess,
true.
except for he had the contact lenses and probably
Yeah.
a bunch of evidence in his apartment. Or,
Yeah.
you know, the girl who could see the future and knows that he's Chess.
And yeah, and that was another thing too. It's like, why not keep her around? That way she can say, oh, he's Chess, and this is what proves it.
Yeah, that was also the thing of like, there is a very easy deal here
Yeah.
of, hey, if you prove, how about instead of just killing Fleming, because that's pretty good revenge, but
Yes.
hear me out, what if we completely disgrace him from the world
Yeah.
and then kill him?
He could have told her that, but nope, he gives her over to the police and they arrest her.
And then she's never seen again.
Nope.
Because, again, she can almost final destination a person. However, I guess prison is going to hold her forever.
Fucking
You know.
right.
Prison, a place based on routine.
Yeah. And again, even if you didn't disgrace him, at the very least, Chess is dead. He's the problem. If he's dead, you don't have to look over your shoulder anymore.
Yeah, if Chess dies, take Keith David's tickets, run off with your family to fucking
Yeah.
elsewhere.
There you
Easy.
go. Problem solved, because that was the whole thing about your family. And that was the whole reason you wanted to do this. And you stayed staunch on that issue with Keith David. He's like, I'm doing this for my family, not for you. So there you go. Problem solved. But no. And yeah, you can see why this made our fucking heads hurt while watching this.
And actually, now all I'm thinking of is the Henry Stick collection, and
Yeah.
imagine the Cape running away with his family on the train, and it's presumed dead.
Yes.
Achievement unlocked.
Yes, the presumed dead ending. Yes. That would be amazing.
Which one was that? I forget which Henry Stickmin that was.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. I think that was the Prison Break one.
Yeah, I think so too. Escape the Wall.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when you escape by yourself. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway. But it just annoys me more that we couldn't just go by, because the reason I brought up the point of her being autistic is because this is a show
Yeah.
where I'd like to mention in this episode they point out the whole fate thing, and Keith David's character has a magic calendar that said this would happen.
Yeah.
So magic slightly exists, and also we have a man with scales for skin.
Yeah.
So the idea of just someone being born with the ability to see the future, I don't think would have
Yeah.
been too fucking far-fetched.
like, here's the thing. Why couldn't she just have powers to see the future? Why did we need to bring savant syndrome into this?
Well, we're Batman. We're more realistic and grounded. Batman has Bane.
Yeah,
Batman has
exactly.
Killer Croc. We can suspend disbelief here.
Yeah, exactly. And because the thing is, too, one of the big things about that is the computer system that Chess is making is named after her because they were studying her.
Yeah, they use the father's research and they're going to give it. That's why the Cape wants to stop this, is because if Chess releases that, they'll figure out who the Cape is.
Yeah.
But also think for 2 seconds and be
Yeah.
like, wait, what if someone asks it who Chess is?
Yeah. But I know everyone presumes Chess is dead, but come on, ask him who Chess is. Yeah.
Yeah, what if the wife is just like, who is Chess?
Yeah, exactly. It is the thing. It works both ways.
Yeah,
It's really fucking stupid when you really think about it. Like, this goes beyond. I was talking about, like, man, this has so many plot holes, and you're like, this goes beyond plot holes. This is just straight up bad writing at that point.
yeah, a plot hole is something where it's like, oh, okay, they didn't think this part through, but whatever. It's just a little gap there. This is like if I took a machine gun to a piece of paper.
Yeah. Like, there, and you can have multiple plot holes in a movie, but this just kind of goes beyond that. And it's like, if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, the entire plot just kind of falls apart.
The tension, the plot, the characters are all fucking stupid.
It's gone. It's gone. All the tension is just gone at that point. Also, So yeah, I think that's episode 5, right? Just that is by far the worst episode of the series. Really bad.
That is.
Ugh. And one more thing I forgot to say about the pilot, which is fucking hilarious, is because when we were watching the pilot, I was slightly high. And I stopped for a sec, and I just asked Justin, hey, this is really bad, right? Like, I'm not just, like, this isn't because I'm high, I'm, like, questioning the plot more, or thinking about it too more, or being too hard on it, or I'm freaking out. This is actually bad, right?
Yeah, I seriously just had to look at it and go, yes, I'm sober. This is terrible.
Yeah, because I genuinely wanted to make sure that it was actually as bad as I remembered it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so after episode 5, needless to say, we were pretty, our spirits were broken at that point. And because, again, I was enjoying up to that point, but episode 5, I was just like, I hate this. This is terrible. And so going into disc 2, yesterday, we were very concerned. And it started out with the mediocre episode, which was the one with the,
Goggles and Hicks.
Actually, before we go on the Goggles and Hicks, let's finish that little rant about autism, how it's portrayed in movies, because I realized we kind of stopped that.
Hey, Justin from the future here. So, quick thing. When you're doing a podcast, such as ours, you don't have a script, and you are just going kind of what goes off the top of your head. I do not like how this next conversation goes, so I'm kind of cutting it. And I'm openly admitting it. It's not that we say anything offensive. It gets too rambly. Our lack of knowledge on the subject shows. And it becomes rather confusing what we're trying to say. So I thought I'd do this to summarize it quicker. Makes the episode a bit shorter as well. We were trying to talk about autism representation in TV shows such as The Cape. And there is actually a very good video by Toon Runes about autism representation. I would highly suggest going and seeing that. There's a link in the description and in the show notes. Now, what we were trying to get to is very much that TV seems to have only one or two modes with autism. And actually, Toon Runes goes over this, so I'm going to be kind of quoting their video, and they're also quoting an article, so this is kind of a game of telephone at this point. Savant syndrome is often a very hurtful stereotype put in TV shows because people are stupid. The viewers are stupid. Hell, actually, after watching the video, I realized a lot of stuff we said was just us not knowing enough about autism. But to keep it simple here, Savant syndrome is rather hurtful because it sets an unrealistic expectation for people. Like any person, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Savant syndrome does exist, but not to the fucking superpower level that TV shows like to show it as, where you are suddenly smarter than literally everyone on Earth, and you can be the best surgeon ever, or you're a master detective like Sherlock, or you have the insane vast knowledge of certain characters. No, that's not how it works. And it sets an unrealistic standard for actual autistic people. And it's a hurtful stereotype. It cuts out the negatives of being autistic. And I'm saying this in the way that everyone has, shit they have to deal with. Autistic people have stuff they have to deal with. Anyone does. Since shows cut out the bad to try and show, like, this is good representation, we're not saying anything negative. By cutting that out, you don't show people how to actually deal with a situation that could come up. And it is hurtful because then they'll be like, oh, you're just being weird. You're not like the version of autism that I know. The version you learn by watching a fucking American TV show. Most likely written by people who know about as much about autism as I do. Or possibly even less. That's what we were trying to get across, is this is just representation. It's not realistic. It's setting a stupid standard for people. and it's not even really showing the thing it's trying to represent. And in the show, since there's stuff like people with scales for skin, or a magical calendar and the cape being connected through fate, magic would have been fine. We didn't need superpower autism. It could have 100% been, oh, she was born with the ability to see into the future, and nothing would have changed. But instead, they try to do this representation, which does not work. Anyway, sorry about that little rant. Back to the episode. Again, check out the video by Toon Runes. It's linked in the description and in the show notes on whatever app you are listening on.
But yeah, either way, we need to stop with the stereotypes and figure out how to actually properly portray it. Because obviously, me and Justin all for equal representation for everybody. So
all for actually showing people as people. Stereotypes.
Yeah. Should we get the stereotypes out of the way, by the way, all at once? Should we talk about the some of the gay stuff and stuff like that?
Well, that's not a stereotype. It's just so fucking early 2000s.
That was a very big trend in the early 2000s, was like making fun of, like, you know, because
no, wait, this was 2011. Sorry.
Well, still, it was just starting to die off, but it was still there, frankly.
Yeah, there's so many just homophobic jokes and jabs, and oh my god, just all the toxic masculinity.
Oh yeah, because there's a couple scenes that come to mind with that. In the pilot episode, the hypnotist is training him, and then like he hypnotizes him, and he's like, "Oh, you're wearing woman's panties now." Ha ha ha. And then when Vince hypnotizes him, he puts a bra on him. Ha 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 ha. Very funny.
It's just like Vince is the most stereotypical just man.
Yeah, manly man.
He's a Navy SEAL veteran. He's a cop. He's a family man.
Yep, like every toxic masculinity stereotype. And there's a line where he's
by God, he is straight. Do not get that confused.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah. But and there's a line like where he's talking to what's Keith David's character's name again?
Which character?
Keith David.
Keith David is
Max. He's talking to Max, and it was about, like, you know, looking over his shoulder. He's like, I don't want to teach my son to run away from a fight or something like that.
Maybe that's why you get your ass kicked all the time, dumbass.
There's a difference between running from a fight and, you know, surviving and being smart. Oh, I'm sorry, we're not being smart because men apparently have to be...
This is the cape.
This is the cape. Well, one, it's the cape, and two, apparently men aren't allowed to be smart or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. It's just toxic masculinity. And there was one where, like, someone said, oh, yeah, go be with your husband or something to another cop. It's like, guys, fucking Jesus. It's just, I couldn't help but laugh at a couple of them because they're so goddamn outdated.
It's like watching old machinimas or something.
Yeah.
Just how fucking toxic it has to be.
Yeah, there's this, you can't help but laugh just because of how horrible it is. Just no, I hate that. But then we get Goggles and Hicks, and that's another very stereotypical episode, just middle of the road. Anything we have to say on that?
Stereotypical episode. It's just middle of the ground.
Yeah, it's fine. And then there's the Lich, which is probably the best part of this series.
Do you want to save the Lich for later after we get through all the bad, or you want to do it now?
Okay, yeah, let's do that. So episode 9-10 is the ending.
9 is the gang war one, and 10 is the final episode.
And that's
which one thing we forgot to mention about this, if you watched it on TV, you probably only saw 9 episodes.
Yep.
Because the 10th one was straight to online.
They never aired the 10th episode. It went straight to the web. So that's how poor the show did. Is they did produce the 10th episode, but they just didn't air it because the ratings were not there.
Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah. Sorry, go on.
The main thing that bugs me here is how they just changed chess to now, because it was clearly just Fleming, you know, in a disguise because he's a sociopathic murderer.
Yeah, and he put these chess contact pieces in. So
yeah, He put chest contacts in and he would murder people. But then they bring up that it's TID and
Out of nowhere.
Out of just nowhere, he has a therapist who apparently makes a deal with Chess. We never find out what this is because the series ends.
Because it got axed super hard.
Yeah, Chess disappears by the end of the show.
Because the thing about that is that in the Lich episode at the end, he does appear to himself, but it was supposed to be very symbolic, like you said, kind of a devil on your shoulder type thing. But then the bad writer stepped in and was like, oh, no, see, we can make that dissociative identity disorder now. Because in the 9th episode, he hears his voice in his head, which never happened before this time.
Actually, the thing I love there is, okay, usually the reason you bring in split personalities and stuff is, for a Jekyll and Hyde situation.
Yeah.
Where one is different from the other. But the dude goes from a crazy psychopath who is willing to kill people to a crazy psychopath who's willing to kill people.
An even crazier psychopath who's willing to kill people, but isn't as subtle about it. So, just really not that much of a difference. You're right. Yeah. And, again, that made more sense when he was just crazy and he enjoyed being Chess or whatever. But now it's just straight up DID and it just kind of doesn't make sense knowing the character.
Because remember, if you have DID, the other personality is just a murderer.
That's always how it is for some fucking reason in shows, isn't it? It's either a murderer or a crazy person.
I'd have to talk to someone and see if Psych had a good representation, because I can think of one episode where there's someone with DID.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it was too bad, but it's a bit sketchy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that happened. And yeah,
they weren't a murderer, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. But at the end of the series, it just kind of ends, and it's this really bad, like, basically it's a non-ending. It's not really a cliffhanger, it's just a non-ending where, like, the immediate thing is resolved, but there's still, like, a second half of a plot clearly trying to go on. And yeah, it's just...
There's still a lot of questions. Did I mention one of the head writers of the show also wrote Lost?
Yeah. That happened.
Oh my god.
And the thing that kills me about the script writing too in general is there are some genuinely funny lines and genuinely good moments and good jokes. In this series, there is a good writer in there somewhere who has some good stuff, and that's kind of what got us through the series. Because he popped out, or she, or them, or whoever, popped out every once in a while, and we're like, hey, that was good, hey, I'm enjoying this a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, hey, here's the good writer. And then whoever the bad writers were just snuck up behind him and whacked him with a club. And it was like, okay, glad they're gone.
You could always tell when it was the good scriptwriter and the bad scriptwriter.
The good scriptwriter was there when they were in the circus. And there was Rollo and Max and the trapeze artist.
Yep. And the hypnotist.
They were fun.
Yeah.
And the hypnotist. They were all fun. Well, the hypnotist got the bad writer sometimes.
Yeah, he did. He got him the most out of all the characters.
Hey, isn't it weird that the person with all the bad ideas and contrary was the Middle Eastern guy?
Yeah, this was the early 2000s or late 2000s, I guess.
Hi, 2011. How are you?
Hey, how are you doing over there? But yeah, it's just every once in a while he was trying to come out, but then that's it. Nope. And it just got back to shit. So overall, the final words on the plot, full of holes, really bad most of the time. 2 good episodes that we'll get to.
Yeah, the plot is just inconsistent. The tone is bad.
Mm-hmm.
The characters are only well written maybe 20% of the time.
Yeah.
And it goes fucking nowhere.
Because it got axed.
Because it got axed, and frankly, not gonna miss
it. I once we were done with the episode, I was like, I could see why this got axed. So let's talk about some of the special effects now. Oh boy, even by lower budget American television show budgets, there are some moments in the show that look fucking terrible.
So the thing me and Cameron will jokingly say to one another is we will bring up explosions in season 1 of The Blacklist.
Yeah.
Because in The Blacklist, it is clear that the explosion isn't real. It is just put on a new layer above the image, and it goes boom.
Yeah, sometimes it's very clearly just an explosion with the background keyed out. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, sometimes it's worse than a YouTube video. Like,
Yeah.
it's bad. And the cape, I don't know if it's worse in the first episode, because here's the debate. One, in Blacklist, it's an obvious just effect top layer, there it goes, maybe some lighting effects to make it look somewhat more there.
Yeah.
In the cape, it's clearly fucking PS2 level CGI as the car with the chief of police blowing up. His car is fully CG, so is the explosion. It looks like Spy Kids fucking 3D.
It really does. Like, you see like the ring of the explosion go outward or whatnot, and the car like kind of jumps up, and it just looks so terrible.
It looked so terrible. And my God, they really want green screens to look good.
They really did.
Okay, episode 4 takes place entirely on a train.
Well, not entirely, but mostly on a train.
Okay, fine. 95% of the episode takes place on a train. Happy?
Yes.
But also play whichever train Archer clip you wish.
Yep.
Why do people do this? You're still just on the train.
I know, right?
And they spend any time they are on the roof or in between the cars, there is such a terrible fucking green screen background of the night.
Oh, and the image that stayed in my mind was the fight between Scales and the Cape on top of the train. That looked hilariously awful. Like, wow.
I said this before, I'll say it again. YouTube can do better.
Yeah. Fucking our man over there, Value Select, has better special effects than a professional American television, quote unquote, professional show that was aired on network television.
You're not wrong.
Honestly, like, there are YouTube green screen videos that look better than this, and it's just hilarious to me.
I'm pretty sure you can look up old Freddie W videos from the same year that look better than this.
Oh, I'm sure you could. That's the hilarious thing about it. Oh God, it was bad. And then the other one that sticks out in my mind is that fucking drone from the 6th episode.
Oh, they were so fucking proud of that thing.
They lingered on this special effect for so long, and it looked so bad.
So the cape and not Oracle. I keep wanting to call her that because I say
she is basically Oracle.
She is Orwell.
Yeah, because 1984.
The cape and Orwell.
Get it?
Yeah, because she's always watching. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah.
The cape and Orwell are out at a park, and Goggles and Hicks, the people after them, are this assassin duo. They sometimes Hicks is sent in with like a sniper rifle, but also they have gadgets and a cool van, a quote unquote cool van. Yeah. And they send out this drone, which is just this fucking metal peanut with 4 rotors and the front camera, which pulls away to stick out a fucking mini 50 cal. And I swear to fuck, you could make this thing on a early PS2 game or even maybe a late PS1 game.
Yeah. And
it's so terrible.
I jokingly said during the film, it's like, this is Sci-Fi Channel original movie levels of horrible special effects.
I would say Sharknado 1 had better effects.
Honestly, it's hilariously bad. And like I said, they linger on it. They were proud of this. I was like, oh God, you guys.
This chase goes on for at least 3 minutes.
It's a while, and it's hilariously painful to watch. And then at the end, he ends up smashing it, and they pick it up off the ground, and we're like, yeah, that looks good. You know why? Because it's actually fucking there.
Yeah, they had a real model for the broken one, which is like, you couldn't get one practical effects guy to make a drone.
Honestly.
And, oh, I'd like to bring up a stupid moment in this episode where, the Cape and Orwell are searching in the drone, and they find like a chip to track it back to the van.
Yeah.
And once Goggles realizes he's caught, it took them from noon to nightfall in order to figure this out, and they never went back to their base.
That one was hilarious to me because that's just bad continuity at this point. Because it was like the chase was in broad daylight, and then it cuts to the van.
It was clearly noon.
And then it cuts to the van, and then it cuts right back to them. And then it's all of a sudden night now, and they're still standing there or sitting there looking at the chip. So it's like we were like, were they just sitting there for like 6 or 7 fucking hours until nightfall?
Darn, it's so hard to look through this thing. Shouldn't we go back to the base where you have all like your tools and stuff? No, we can't waste time.
But yeah, that was very easily solved. It's like, broad daylight, they're looking at the thing, cut to Goggles and them, and then cut to them back at Orwell's base, because Orwell has a base. There, you can study it there. There, continuity issue solved.
But then we wouldn't have the cool foot chase into the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Where the military trained Hicks misses at point blank at 2 targets staying in the fucking dark.
Oh, but he doesn't even aim at them. He like aims at like the wooden rise thing next to the seats. It's like you had trouble taking this guy out with a 50 cal machine gun, and then he runs out of bullets, and it's like, oh wow, I'm gonna pull out my knife.
We're gonna pull out this knife. But you may be wondering, why is it pitch black? It's because once Goggles realizes he's seen, he presses a button and fucking EMPs the entire city.
It's like this little tiny I don't want to say like golf ball size, but like baseball sized orb that just blacks out an entire city.
It's like a fist size, I'd say.
So about the size of a baseball. So yeah, that just blacks out an entire fucking city the size of New York.
Yup, all of not New York City is just blacked out.
And they kind of ruined a joke too, because like the kids were in the room and they plugged something in to try and catch footage, and then the lights went out. We were like, oh, haha, great joke. But then the whole city goes dark, and it's like, oh, you ruined it.
Oh wait, the way you got to that joke was fucking stupid.
Yeah. and
even if it just took out like a few blocks, fine, that's acceptable. But this is the whole city.
They show in a shot like the whole city going entirely dark. And then, like you said, and he had the element of surprise is what kills me. They didn't know he was there. He had night vision and a gun. And him being the master of stealth fires wildly into the darkness and then yells some stuff and pulls out a knife. So now they know he's there.
Yeah. And also, he still aims for body shots, even though the Cape has proven to them multiple times he is bulletproof at the body, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Another little thing I love, and this is just basically nitpicking. They go into the theater and pull out a light. That's where they run off into a abandoned theater.
Orwell pulls out her lighter. That's it.
Pulls out a lighter, and this somehow lights up basically the entire theater with orange light.
Like we're talking like a cigarette lighter, like one you manually like click on, and that little tiny thing that lights up an entire theater. Like a giant.
Like you see the back row of the seats, you can see the stage perfectly fine.
Which begs the question, when the lights went out, why the hell did they not just pull out their lighter? You can see why this show is fucking terrible, because it's moments like that make our head hurt, because it's like, for every moment that I enjoyed from the show because of how bad it was, there was always something else in there that just bugged the shit out of me. There was always something that kind of ruined it a little bit.
And this goes back to what we were talking about with it being tone deaf. If this was a much more jokey show, I would totally let it slide oh, they have a drone with a 50 cal in, or they have a machine in their van to EMP an entire city.
Mm-hmm.
But it's played so straight. It's annoying as hell.
Yeah. It's like the actors are playing it so straight that you're like, it's implying that you're supposed to be taking this seriously, which no, and that's what kind of ruins it. Is it's trying to be silly, but they're trying to play it straight, which you're supposed to take it seriously, and you can't take it seriously when this stuff is going on. So it kind of ruins the whole thing.
Yeah, it just fights against itself.
Yeah, it's so bad. And yeah, so that's that, and just so many dumb moments and so many bad special effects that are funny to me.
Anytime they drive in a car, it's also a green screen background. It's just terrible.
A very obvious green screen background. Just a side note, I do love the JonTron Doctor Ho thing, where it's like the James Bond parody, and he's in the car with who's supposed to be M, and every time it cuts back and forth between them, the background changes.
Yeah.
Like one time they're underwater and it cuts back and it's like a Wild West train in the background shooting.
Jeez. Oh, excuse me.
You're fine. And yeah, that's the biggest issue with the show. Yet somehow, are we good with any of the issues? Any other issues? I'll just throw that out there. Anything else?
I think that's about all the issues.
Because somehow, through all of these issues, we were able to get a very good two-parter, which is it's basically movie-length long thing of The Lich, which was actually decent and enjoyable. So, let's talk about that.
Quick step of the two-parter. There is the policeman when Vincent was a cop, the policeman had basically a boogeyman called the Lich. Any crime that went unsolved, that was the Lich. And the Lich is in town. He's been poisoning people. They seem to die, but then digs them up and they are catatonic or hypnotized.
Yeah, because it kind of goes into the white zombie lore, like the really old zombie lore before, Romero zombies, where it was like voodoo priests that would drug people and make them basically catatonic and they could do their will. That was kind of hearkening back to that.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I don't know why I keep fucking up her name. Orwell is looking in because Ark wants to buy the docks. It'll take over the docks so that way they can transport weapons and drugs without any supervision, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So Orwell wants to stop them from it, and apparently there is a family called the Chandlers, and there is one living heir. If he was alive, he would technically own the docks, so Ark could not buy them.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes looking for this man. Episode 1 is spent with the Cape and his cop buddy Martin trying to find where the poisoner is, and figures out that they are going to basically pump the scarecrow. I'm going to call it scarecrow toxin because
it's basically scarecrow toxin.
It makes them hallucinate and do their bidding.
Yeah. And like him, Keith David, and or what was Keith David's name again? Not Sam.
Rollo.
Not Rollo. What was Keith David?
Oh, Keith David's Max.
Max. I keep wanting to say Sam for some reason. Yeah.
Because Sam and Max.
Yeah. But yeah, the Cape, Max, and Rollo go out and investigate, and they bring the cop body into it. It's basically those three investigating for most of the episode.
Four, yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
At the end of episode 1, they find out it's going to happen on parade, and they find it's already on a parade float because they were the Cape got the cops to basically block off the city and check every car to make sure no one's bringing it in. Mm-hmm. But it's already there.
Yep.
And they find who the episode set up to be the Lich. And then we find out it isn't.
Yeah, because the original Lich, quote unquote, is played by Tom Noonan, who is famous. He was in Blacklist, and he's famous for his role in Manhunter as the Tooth Fairy.
Yes.
And he's this very tall, very intimidating looking man, so who goes around like dousing people, so you think the Lich.
Yeah, the show shows him. It shows the title card, The Lich. Really neat. But it's not him. And we have been seeing Orwell with Chandler, and Chandler is apparently he was dropped off in basically a mental asylum and has lived there his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else seems to be there. And she keeps talking, finding more and more about his family until he finally admits he is Chandler. He also admits that isn't his face. He takes off a mask and he's horribly deformed.
Yep.
Like, he looks like he has no skin.
Yeah,
He's the Lich. The person the person we thought was the Lich was his doctor who was doing his bidding.
Yep.
Chandler planned this entire thing, this chemical attack, so that way everyone who's in, one, either dies or becomes his slave, and two, he takes back everything that Ark took from him.
Yep. And it is a genuinely good twist, and one that I don't think either of us saw coming.
Yeah, I know with me saying, like, oh, the B plot is this, then you're obviously like, oh, okay, that's the Lich. But when you're watching the episode, it just, especially after everything else in the show, it feels like, okay, that's the B plot that's going to kind of connect back later, whatever.
Yep.
And I kept thinking, like, yo, this episode is really good, but you keep cutting back to Orwell and it kind of breaks the pacing.
Mm-hmm.
But once the twist comes in, it's like, oh shit, that was good.
Yeah, it was genuinely well done and took me and Justin aback because we were like, wow, that was actually really good. We're enjoying this episode. Good job, show.
You didn't completely fuck it up.
Yeah.
Great work. And the next episode doesn't mess it up either.
No, it's just as good, minus a couple nitpicks here and there.
Yeah, a couple of nitpicks that I don't honestly remember.
Yeah.
But Orwell gets drugged and the Lich is going to try and marry her.
Mm-hmm. It's like this fucked up like forced wedding thing because he drugs her, so she's basically paralyzed.
Yeah, and also we keep seeing inside her mind as she's having this surreal dream of being married, getting married to Vincent. Which also, whoever scouted the set there, the trees because it's an outdoor wedding, the trees there bend. It really adds to the dreamlike feel of the whole thing. It was really well done. But anyway, it's this very tense race against the clock trying to get Orwell before she is killed. She's poisoned and killed.
Yep, pretty much.
There's some solid the action scenes are, well, one, it's clear no one knows how to fight with how often they cut, but it's not too bad for TV action.
No, it's decently done, especially in these two-parters.
And this two-parter, there's a lot of fun with the action scenes. Yeah. The tone stays fucking consistent.
Yeah. And it's just overall really well done and satisfying. There's a final ending where they don't really kill him, but they throw a thing on top of him, disabling him for long enough for them to get out of there, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah, this episode just worked, and we're kind of blown away. And that was something that I said. It's like, it worked so well because they were actually able to decide on a consistent tone. It had a much more darker, serious tone than the rest of the series, and it worked because they weren't trying to throw all this stupid bullshit in it.
Yeah, there was still comic booky stuff, like a poison powder you blow in someone's face to hypnotize them. But it wasn't too far-fetched to completely take out from the tone. There wasn't some stupid CGI for the powder. They're
actually able to have a consistent tone and focus on a single story. Like, it was a mystery. Like, it was very much like kind of a detective show trying to figure out who the Lich is, what are his plans. And it was a much simpler setup than trying to throw all this stupid shit in. And I think the other reason it worked too is because it was a two-parter. It actually had room to breathe with the plot and shit, and they weren't just trying to jump ahead and rush things.
Yeah, this show having a main plot and not just while also trying to be a villain of the week really hinders it as well from storytelling stands.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay, this is our villain of the week. Don't we have shit to do right now?
Yeah, and the X-Files did that really well, where they had dedicated parts of the season to standalone stories, and, you know, dedicate parts of the season to the overarching plot. And usually it was 2/3 of the time, I think they focused on the monster of the week, and the rest of the time was the plot. But they knew to separate those and not just throw it all together in this weird hodgepodge.
Well, not so much they knew to separate them, but there's no there's urgency to the X-Files main plot, but there also isn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. They're
here, it's Ark is about to take over the city. We need to prove that Vincent is innocent and that Ark is evil.
There's always
However, we're going to take a day to fight this guy who also wants the cape.
Yeah. There's always this kind of tension in the background, and they just throw scenes of him in there. It's like, oh yeah, he's taking over the city. And so when they cut away from that, it just feels weird. It's like, isn't there things we should be focusing on right now?
Shouldn't we kind of pay attention to that?
Yeah. That's another really big issue with this series. Another, like, smaller but equally hilarious problem is how tone deaf it is with the locations in most of the show.
That's not tone deaf. That's just a weird consistency issue.
Yeah, or continuity or whatever. Yeah, it's just really strange because, again, we were just praising the continuity in the Lich and the location scouting because it was really well done. But there are a lot of times in the show where it'll be like, you know, really dark, really big city, and then it'll be like in the middle of a field somewhere in what looks like farmland. But then it's a suburban neighborhood. Where the fuck is Palm City?
Palm City, a place where it's always spring. There's farmland just a few miles out of the city. The city looks like a mix of Chicago, New York, and Miami. And the suburbs look like the Midwest.
Yet there are also, like, actual piers, like in Florida, with seagulls and everything. Like,
but there's also New York style docks as well.
Yeah, so it's just funny how completely inconsistent it is with the setting. It's a little distracting at times because they'll just kind of jump to these locations. It's like, wait, where are we?
All I can think of is the Simpsons movie where they point out where Springfield is, and it's like, well, we're right on the border of North Dakota, Georgia, New Mexico, and Washington.
Exactly. They're just kind of everywhere, and it's just kind of just a funny little thing that we noticed.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it just, the Lich was good. I definitely recommend watching if you're really curious, just at least those. But everything else is just either just enjoyably bad to really annoyingly bad.
To just unwatchable American TV.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. Even by American TV standards, this is pretty bland and forgettable. Ugh.
Last few good things. Scales, who again is played by the actor who played Big Chris in Lock, Stock. Anytime he's on screen, even if he's given terrible lines, he's the best fucking thing.
Yeah, Vinnie Jones, I think is his name or something like that.
Yeah, Vinnie Jones. Hold on, let me. There's a dwarf character in the Circus of Thieves called Rollo. He's also hilarious, and the fact that he's the strongest person there and just takes people down in one punch or hits Scales in the knee with a fucking giant ass pipe. A pipe wrench.
Yeah, pipe wrench. It was just great because he's just like, let's go. Okay, just cloong onto his kneecap and then dong to his face, and that's it. He defeats Scales.
He's funny. Also, Scales has stupid backstory, but honestly, we're running long already.
Yeah, so, and that was just silly. It's not even worth it. It's just
Trip, Vincent's daughter, really well played.
Vincent's son.
The person who plays Fleming has a fun time.
Vincent's son.
Yes.
You said Vincent's daughter.
He can be whoever he wants, man.
I know. I'm just saying. It's very clearly his son in the show. I'm just saying.
Fair enough. Dana, his wife, again, does a performance that this show did not deserve.
She gave it her all. She gave a genuinely good dramatic performance, and we just felt bad because we're like, this is not the show for that. I'm so sorry. You really gave it your all here.
Actually, there's the obvious way to show the problem with the tone is show the scenes of his wife breaking down as she's facing the hardships of having people think her husband is a terrorist with Scales.
Yeah, he's a terrorist and a serial killer. Like,
Yeah, you see her just emotionally break down in the first couple episodes, and then you have Scales, a bodybuilder who has scales and is a crime boss. And he's in a suit sometimes. It's so silly.
It's so totally different. That is by far the show's biggest issue and the biggest detriment, because while the explosions and the blacklist looked pretty bad, especially in the first season, the rest of the show was so well done that we gave it a pass. Like, everything else about the show was fantastic, so it was fine. But here, it's just kind of another layer on top of a show that already has a ton of issues.
Honestly.
So yeah, overall, this show did not hold up well at all. It's not good. I don't even know what I'd give it. It's just bad and kind of not worth watching.
It might be like a 4.5 out of 10.
That's what I'm guessing. Like, I'd give it a few extra points for the Lich episode, or 2 episodes, I should say, because those were good, honestly.
That's why I'm saying 4.5, because I don't know if I'd give it a 5 or a 4, because the Lich and the few good, like the good jokes and the few good character moments help it. I guess 5. I'll be nice.
We'll give it a 5 out of 10. It's just it's good at times and sometimes enjoyably bad, but man, it has so many issues that just hinder the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall did not enjoy it, and yeah. Oof.
That's probably the worst we've gotten on the short series wheel
so far. Yes.
So far, we don't know about Death Parade or season 2 of Pushing Up Daisies.
Yeah, we don't. And we'll see how well Flash Forward has held up, because again, I've watched it since its initial airing. So
worrying.
Yeah.
So anyway, next week is Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and then we're getting back to Star with season 3.
Heck yes.
I think we're done with we're all out of things to say about the Cape, right?
I think that's it. That was just our little recap. So
cool. I can let the DVD game dust on my shelf now.
Okay. But yeah, so stay tuned, because the next show is going to be Star season 3. So
you should end the episode with the line "No capes" from The Incredibles.
That's a great idea.
No capes.